Hey everyone, and welcome to Social Studies. Here we are in lesson 7, and we're going to a cool place that I really enjoy. I've been there once, and when I was there, I spent about 3 days exploring the outer edges. And I tell you, it was one of the places that I would say is something that if I were to tell anybody that go visit something in the United States, it would probably be this. We are going to the Grand Canyon today. And one thing about the Grand Canyon is videos and pictures do not serve it well because a camera cannot show you how big, how vast the Grand Canyon is. So when I was there, I kind of walked up to it, and I'll tell you, it took my breath away because it was one of those places that when you see it, you're like, oh my goodness, because you don't realize how big it is until you are standing there and you realize that you could fill up that thing with like millions and millions and millions and millions of like pools of water. Like you could never even imagine how wide the Grand Canyon is and then how long the Grand Canyon is until you get next to it and you look down and you see a whole river down there, but it looks so tiny because it's so deep into the canyon. It's a giant river that runs through it, but because it's so deep and far away from you when you're standing on the edge, it just doesn't look that crazy or big. So it's pretty wild, and that's what we're exploring today. So check it out by clicking on lesson 7 in TCI. So you should be on Social Studies Alive. Click on Assignments, and then go down to lesson 7, or section 7, sorry, lesson 2. And we are going to be looking at the Grand Canyon. I mean, I look at this picture, and I just want you to see, this is a whole tree right here. Like that's a whole tree. And you could stack that tree up like hundreds of times before it reaches the bottom of this canyon. It doesn't look as big as it is when you're looking at a picture. I mean, it looks big in this picture, but like if you were down there, you would hardly be able to see yourself like from up here. Like you wouldn't even notice the person walking because they look like an ant because it's so far down. That's kind of what I mean here. There's a reason why there's no bridges here going across because it's so wide. It would take so much money and materials to build a bridge that crosses this canyon. That's it's just that big. Now that goes to say also that like when you're driving at the Grand Canyon, you have to take the long way always because when you're like, let's say you're on this side and you want to get to this side, well, since there's no bridges, you have to literally drive around the whole Grand Canyon, which could take hours depending on your location. So it's pretty wild, and I hope that you find it to be as intriguing as I do. So the Grand Canyon is 277 miles long and 1 mile deep. This famous place is found in the great state of Arizona. So the picture yourself at the Grand Canyon. I can see it now. I'm standing on the edge. It's so crazy and big. Whoa! All right, there you go. I've imagined. How many different colors do you notice in the rocks? I mean, that's a lot of colors. Look at all the different colors. Browns, blacks, oranges, reds, grays. Pretty crazy. How far down is the river? How do you think the Grand Canyon got its name? A canyon is a deep, narrow valley with steep sides. Grand means large. The Grand Canyon is certainly large. After all, it's 277 miles long and 1 mile deep. Most of you guys live about a mile from the school. That's about how deep the Grand Canyon is. From you to the school, deep. Pretty wild. Many people visit the Grand Canyon just to see it. Some of them hike or ride mules to get to the bottom. A river runs along the bottom of the canyon. Check it out. The Grand Canyon is in the state of Arizona. The Colorado River is in Arizona and goes through the Grand Canyon. How far do you live from the Grand Canyon? Well, let's find out. So first things first, we need to find Arizona and we need to find the Grand Canyon. It says label the dot on the map with the name and place on its state. Well, we're over here in New Jersey. Arizona is a very dry place, and it's all the way over here in Arizona. We see California, Nevada, and Arizona. And with that, we can label it. So let's grab our text box, and we're going to label Arizona with the Grand Canyon. I'm giving it all caps because it's giant. The Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon is in Arizona. So label that. Label that. Now, this one's going to be a little bit more challenging than the ones we've done in the past because it's so far. We're drawing our line to get to the Grand Canyon. Now, if you were to go to the Grand Canyon, it would take you a few days to get there because it's so far away. So if you were to drive to the Grand Canyon, like I said, it would take you a few days to get there. This is definitely not one of those places that you would just be able to go for the weekend. You would have to take a few weeks to go and visit if you were driving, maybe a week if you were to fly there and spend some time to see it. So again, like yesterday, I'm going to kind of make my own scale. I'm going to take a shape, which is going to be a square, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, perfect square. So I'm going to take a square, and I'm going to make my square the same size as the scale. So hopefully what you notice is I'm making my own measuring device. And what I'm doing is I'm going to take this and make it exactly the same size as the scale. So each one of my blocks is 1,000 miles. So there's 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, and then let's take another square and find out how much more it is. So I'm going to take another square, bring it down here, and I want to see how much more do I need after I do 2,000 miles. So I'm going to just make this the size of the rest of my line. And I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to measure it. So on my scale, I'm about halfway through this 0 to 500. Half of 500 is 250. So I would have to drive 1,000, 2,000, 250 miles. So 2,250 miles would be our total. So I'm going to delete my little boxes. I always forget how to delete on this, but I think it was Logan Johnson who might have told me how to do that. So now I know. All right, so I'm just fixing my line, putting it back on our town, and there we go. So 2,250 miles is the drive from our house to the Grand Canyon, depending on where you're going in the canyon, because it's 200 miles long. So you could assume that it's going to be a little different depending on where you go. So here we go. The distance from Gloucester Township to the Grand Canyon is about 2,250 miles. And the direction from Gloucester Township to the Grand Canyon is, let's see, never eat soggy waffles. So I would have to go west, which would get me to here, and then I'd have to go south. So we're going to say north and south first, which means we're going to say southwest. So we would have to go to the southwest to get to the Grand Canyon, and it would be about 2,250 miles. So I hope you found that to be helpful to your understanding of the Grand Canyon. But wait, there's more. We're going to learn a little bit more about the Grand Canyon by clicking on classwork again. And in your classwork, there's two videos that we're going to be looking at. The first one is a virtual tour of the Grand Canyon with some information provided. So you're going to click on the View Pure link first. Once you click on the View Pure link, you're going to watch the video. If it could ever just come up already. Jeez. All right, so here it is. You're going to click on this link. You're going to watch the information 4 minutes about the Grand Canyon. Once you watch this video about the Grand Canyon, the ugliest animal. Ugh. All right. So then once you watch that one, You're going to watch the second one, which is a calm video, and it's just a flyover. So it's literally like a drone or a helicopter flying over and through the Grand Canyon, and it's set to some cool, calming music. So hopefully you'll find it to be nice and relaxing. So get in a comfy place and check it out. Oh my God, I love this place. I want to go back so bad. It's such a cool place to visit. So if you ever get the opportunity, go check it out. All right, guys, that's your video for today. Make sure you turn your stuff in when you're done. Click turn in the stuff on the social studies site, and I'll catch you later. Have a great weekend. Palm it.